Breaking news. A White House official confirms to NBC News the White House will not fight to seek revocation of Jim Acosta's hard pass permanently. He's, of course, the CNN reporter. Let's go to Jeff Bennett at the White House. Jeff, what do we know?
Hey there, Casey. Well, remember at the end of last week, the White House had to reinstate Jim Acosta's press pass under court order. It was a temporary order. He was supposed to keep the press pass for something like 14 days, and the White House suggested that they would revoke it at the end of that 14-day period. Well, now we're learning from a White House official that the White House will not fight to seek the revocation of Acosta's hard pass permanently. We expect a statement to come from the White House to this point shortly. So we could see how this plays out. Might the White House reserve the right to revoke his press pass if decorum becomes an issue in the future? Remember, that was the way they tried to frame this issue after suggesting that Acosta somehow inappropriately dealt with an intern who was holding a microphone during that tense exchange with the president. We'll have to see how that plays out. But at the moment, a White House official is confirming that the White House will not seek the revocation of Jim Acosta's press pass at the end of his temporary period where that pass was reinstated, Casey.
So just to be clear, Jeff, does this kind of diffuse the court situation that was playing out? Because there were some questions about challenging what, the access to the White House is not written down in law. It is our tradition and norm. And there was some concern that taking this too far might actually, in the end, hurt the overall cause of press access. Does this mean that this whole question has been diffused?
Not yet. Remember, this is sort of round one, this question having to do with this press pass in and of itself. The larger question, which you can think of as round two, which has to deal with, was it constitutional? Was the revocation of that press pass constitutional or legal? That has not yet been decided. So to your question, does it diffuse the overall argument, the overall debate? No, but at the current moment, this is certainly a win for press freedoms in that the White House, by court order, or at least as it relates to this court order issued Friday, is now effectively giving up, saying that they're not going to revoke his temporary pass, the pass that was reinstated temporarily at the end of this period, Casey.
All right, Jeff Bennett at the White House. Thanks for the update.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.